Welcome to the deep dive. So picture this. Kesser and Steen, they're in the garage making apple cider vinegar for Tante Gren.
Sounds like a fun project.
Totally. But they've run into something interesting. A kind of paradox, really.
Oh.
Yeah, they're thinking about removing acidity from vinegar, which, is supposed to be sour. It's a dilemma you sometimes see in winemaking, too.
Right, exactly. Maybe you harvested a bit early, the grapes are too tart, or like with apples, you find there's just too much sharp acid after fermentation.
Yeah, we've talked before about using microbes like Malo-Lactic-Fermentation to soften things.
We did. But today we're diving into the purely chemical side. Simple reactions, really. Stuff you could almost do in the garage.
Okay, garage chemistry. And Kesser and Steen, this is their first go, so they need to be ready for what might happen.
Definitely. And it all starts with, well, basic chemistry, acid-base reactions.
Takes me back. Acids plus bases equals neutralization, right? Forming water.
Pretty much. You have these weak organic acids from the fruit, and you add a base. H plus meets OH minus, makes HO. Simple.
And sometimes you see bubbles.
Yeah.
Like acid-dissolving chalk. Could Kesser and Steen see that?
Oh, absolutely. If they use calcium carbonate, that bubbling is a dead giveaway, Kuro being released.
Calcium carbonate, like chalk. Or limestone, is that the go-to?
It's definitely the budget option, sometimes called caulk in brewing. It's basic. It neutralizes malic acid, tartaric acid, pushes the pH up towards neutral.
Cheap sounds good for a garage project. But is there a catch?
There often is, yeah. Using caulk, especially if you add it after fermentation's done, well, it can leave a kind of chalky taste or sediment. Not ideal.
Right, so Tante Gren might not be thrilled with chalky vinegar. How do they avoid that?
Well, the key thing, the really important step, is measuring the total acidity of the TA before fermentation kicks off.
Before? Why then?
Because the TA actually drops a little bit naturally during fermentation anyway, so you need to account for that drop to hit your target acidity accurately. Otherwise, you might overshoot with the caulk later.
Okay, so measure first. Got it. But what if they do need to adjust after fermentation and they want to avoid that chalkiness? Are there, like, premium options?
There are. This is where potassium salts come in. More sophisticated.
Potassium salts. Tell me more.
Okay, so you've got potassium bicarbonate, KHCO. It reacts mainly with tartaric acid. And the cool part, it forms potassium bitartrate.
Okay.
And potassium bitartrate isn't very soluble, especially when it's cold. So it actually drops out of the liquid as crystals. It precipitates.
Ooh, so it sort of cleans itself up. Takes the acid out with it.
Exactly. It reduces acidity without leaving that same kind of taste impact as caulk. Then there's also potassium carbonate, KHO.
Similar idea.
Similar, but it reacts with both tartaric and malic acid. Again, it forms less soluble potassium salts that precipitate out. It's quite elegant chemistry, really.
That sounds much better than chalky flavor. Downside must be cost.
Cost is one, yeah. They're definitely pricier. And you absolutely must ensure you're using food-grade quality. That's non-negotiable.
Right, food grade. Anything else to watch out for?
The big danger really with any of these methods is going too far. Over-titration.
Over-titration. What happens then?
You end up with something flat, lifeless. Uninteresting. All that vibrant acidity is gone.
Oh, no. Flat vinegar for Tante Gren. That's the worst-case scenario. Can Kesser and Steen fix it if they accidentally make it flat?
It's tricky. You could try blending it with another more acidic batch if you have one. That's one strategy.
Okay.
Or you could carefully add back a different, perhaps softer acid, like maybe tartaric acid again. But honestly, you start doing that and you can quickly find yourself in a sort of winter of beginner bucket chemistry. Lots of fiddling, maybe making things worse.
Winter beginner bucket chemistry. Doesn't sound fun. So how do they avoid that whole mess?
Data. It really comes down to data and having some respect for the process.
No shortcut.
No short assumptions, exactly. Write things down. Your calculations, your starting TA, your target TA. Get a titration kit. And if you can, measure the pH, too, with a decent meter.
Why pH as well? Isn't TA enough?
Well, pH is super important for shelf life, for stability. They might look into using sulfur later, and pH is key for that. But also, think about the flavor. Those volatile fruit acids, they create esters, delicate compounds that give you aroma, complexity.
The smell and taste.
Exactly. If you just blindly start chucking in powders, you risk destroying all that delicate balance. You strip the character right out of it.
So it's not just about sourness. It's about preserving the essence of the apples.
Precisely. You need to approach it, like playing the violin carefully and not stomping around in clogs. Respect the fruit, understand a little chemistry.
Okay. So Kesser and Steen, on their vinegar quest for Tante Grown, are finding out it's not just about making it sour, but making it right. Balanced for taste and also for keeping well.
That's the journey. And whether you listening are making cider or wine, or maybe you're just curious about what happens in your kitchen, understanding these simple chemical tweaks gives you real control.
It really shows how just a couple of basic chemical ideas can take simple fruit and turn it into something, well, complex and balanced. Pretty amazing.
It is. Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
What's that?
Well, what other everyday things, maybe cooking, baking, cleaning, what other processes are hiding these kinds of scientific secrets, just waiting for us to look a little closer?
Welcome to the deep dive. So picture this. Kesser and Steen, they're in the garage making apple cider vinegar for Tante Gren.
Sounds like a fun project.
Holy.